I'm sitting here with one of my favorite people in the final mile industry. I call him Uncle Charlie. Charlie Davenport with Hotshot Final Mile. Welcome to the Mini 5.
Hey, thanks, Jason.
So first I got to just thank you because we launched the Last2First Huddle. You've been a member since probably day one. You're probably the most consistent person we have on our film study calls, which we do every single week. We do a 45-minute call. We talk about issues. So just thank you, man. I appreciate you giving me your support. It means a lot.
Welcome. I'm really glad to be a part of it. And what you're doing is so needed in this industry. And
tell me about your background. So you've been in the space for a while. Not to date you, but give me some sense of your expertise about this industry that you love and why does it keep you energized and keep coming back to it?
Well, my first day was November 2nd of 1983.
Hey, you remember the
I know the day.
Where was that at?
It was here in Austin.
Oh, okay.
It was here in Austin. I was 25. I was dating a young woman, and we were engaged. And her father owned Austin Delivery Service, but he'd sold it. And the guys he'd sold it to, he carried the note, and they collapsed. So he repossessed it. And I said, well, I don't know much about delivery, but how hard can it be? You pick up something, you take it somewhere else, and you bill for it, right? And so I said, let me give that a shot. I did, and took over the company, and
At 25.
And Austin was booming at the time. We were instantly, once I had about 2 or 3 months in there, and somebody was watching the checkbook and that stuff, we were profitable. And then it's just. Then a little over a year later, John Orn's company acquired us, and
Eastway.
Eastway. It was Eastway back then, and then Eastway became part of U.S. Delivery. He helped found U.S. Delivery, and I stayed on in through Velocity, and then I left Velocity in '98. Went and played in the internet space in the late '90s, and then got back into delivery, and since then. I've done pool distribution. I've run a 48-state trucking company, and then John came to me with this idea 10 years ago now to create Tuya Technologies, and it's been interesting. So I've seen the on-demand. I ran an intermodal company for a couple of years.
Okay.
And so
you've seen it all.
Intermodal, 48-state trucking, regional trucking, and now we've got 5 offices in Texas in the 5 major cities.
What I appreciate most about what you're sharing is you've seen the evolution of not just in transportation broadly speaking, but certainly within this industry. There's a lot of things that's happened. I think a lot of good things happening, a lot of things that I think we may be concerned about happening. You and I talk about AI and robotics and technology. We'll go back and forth on text a little bit. When you look at the future of last mile and some of the things that's coming down the road in terms of these technologies, does that excite you? Does it make you a little concerned about it? Like, what's your posture on the future?
Well, I vacillate from sheer terror to excitement, and swinging back and forth. And yesterday, the speaker yesterday morning, he made a statement. He said he quoted Bill Gates saying, people overestimate what's going to happen in the next 2 years, and they underestimate what's going to happen in 10 years. But here's the way I see it for our industry. We are looking at massive disruption in the way we do business. There is no other way to put it. With robots and self-driving cars and that kind of stuff, there's no better way to put it. But we're in same-day intercity transfers. That's what almost all the companies in the CLDA focus on is same-day delivery. And so our outlook normally is the short term. What's happening in the next 2 years? And in the next 2 years is, the same as it's been the last 20 years. And we got to look to the future to see how we're going to position ourselves. But all those other technologies are in their infancy. You don't really know how they're going to develop and how to best use them. So what's in front of us today is no different than what's been in front of us for the last 20 years.
We think you're right. I mean, I think the technology is coming wildly exciting. It could be terrifying at times. It is going to change the way, maybe not every single thing we do in the space, but it's going to have a significant impact on it. But I also look at it as a tool, just like we looked at when, I'm sure in your experience, you've seen all these new tools come in place. It probably was a very manual dispatch when you probably first got into having a TMS provider. Even some of the assets in the vehicles you use have changed. So we've always been able to figure out how to leverage different tools. The question will be, will the tool start to leverage us, or will we leverage the tool? Meaning that when you talk about whether it be drones or whether it be robots, when the AI is actually inside of a new physical, I won't say being, because they're not beings, but objects, are we accessing that technology to help service our clients, or is that technology going to push us further out? And it may probably land somewhere in the middle of that, but I think the thing that I always enjoy talking to you about is like, you got to start brainstorming, you got to start thinking about these things, because no one knows exactly what's going to happen, but I can tell you what, if you're not thinking about it, it's probably it probably won't end up too well for you, because you'll be behind on whatever's going to happen in the future.
Well, you make a really good point about is the technology going to use us, whatever. Here's, as our customers become more and more reliant on artificial intelligence and those tools, and their staff starts decreasing. Right now, this is a relationship thing. Our customers are relationships, and for the most part, oh sure, price is a big deal, but for the most part, we all get really close to the same price. And so it relies on relationship. You may not have as many relationships in 20 years as you do today, because AI is going to be a lot more analytical. And so, and frankly, one of the reasons companies use us is because it's easier than them dealing with the headaches themselves of getting their deliveries done. But guess what? That could very easily change. And 20 years, the traditional courier messenger services, we know it, I believe, is going to be gone, and it's going to be small parcel distribution. And how do you leverage the warehousing and the conglomeration of
that capacity and resources,
and bringing in multiple companies into the same warehouse? Yeah. Those are things that, who knows, we could spend all day speculating on. But right now we just got this. We got the same thing in front of us that we've had in front of us for 20 years. How do we win that business?
Let me close out with this, because you've been coming to this conference. We're at the CLDA Final Mile Forum. You've been coming for many years, and I've seen you network, I've seen you mentor people, I've seen you find a lot of success here. What is it about the CLDA conference that you enjoy, and what do you think it can do to help with some of these challenges that we're talking about? If you're a new business owner, maybe even been around for a little while, like, why should someone come to the CLDA Final Mile Forum?
I used to think that CLDA was the place to come to go get business, to go get new business and that stuff. And this is all about, Stephen Covey wrote a book back in the 80s called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and one of them is sharpening the saw. And you got to sharpen the saw, and that's what CLDA is all about. You make the connections, you make the friendships, and frankly, over the years now, I give business to companies in other cities, and guys call me and give me business in our cities, because, hey, we're not direct competitors, because one's in Boston and I'm in Texas, and we're not going to overlap. So there's that comfort. But so 2 things: connection and education.
I come Uncle Charlie, right? You like the good old uncle that was got all the knowledge at the barbecue, but Uncle Charlie, I appreciate the mentorship you brought to me. I appreciate, again, your support in the huddle. Last question, actually, is the huddle, right? So I'm be a little shameless plug here. What do you like about the huddle? Like, why should someone, if you're in the last mile space, why should they check out the huddle?
It's the most important thing you can do for your business, period. That's the short answer. To expand on that, it's education, and get out of your shell. Learn what somebody else is doing. I met somebody here, had a very meaningful conversation about business that I'm not doing now. That, like, I've been in this business for 40 years, and like, I was embarrassed to say, I don't know much about your industry. And so now I'm rapidly on my way to education.
You're a lifelong learner, right?
You gotta be.
You gotta be.
And that's the service you're providing, and it's about time.
I appreciate
Thanks.
that. So go to L2FHuddle.com, sign up. We'll see you inside. You'll see me. You'll definitely see Uncle Charlie. He's there every single week. So peace out.
Take care.
Thank you again.
Hey, well, that was easy.
Easy, man. You're a natural. All right, check this out. If you're in the last mile delivery industry, we have created something that's just for you. We've called it the Last2First Huddle, or the L2F Huddle. We can come into an ecosystem or community built for the last mile by the last mile. Now, you'll be able to get access to educational courses, right? Playbooks, as I call them. We build playbooks teaching you everything from A to Z in the last mile industry. Everything from how to set your right driver model, to how to navigate misclassification issues, to how to find customers, how to price that work, how to operate it, all the way through to if you want to buy a company, how do you value those businesses? We also have an AI tool called Ask Miles. Miles will answer any how-to question about the industry. I've personally trained it myself. It's pretty damn good. And then also, we're about community. So you're going to access coaches, experts. We have film studies or weekly calls. You'll be able to deep dive into workshops. Look, this is the place to be if you're in the last mile industry. L2FHuddle.com. I'll see you inside. It's time to huddle up. Let's do it.